Hey guys, it's Jill Powell here, and I'm going to show you today how to do a beautiful complexion on a deeper skin tone. So I've got Val in here with me. Thank you so much for being here. And as you can see, we're going to show you how to create dimension, how to create this beautiful skin with multiple products, but also something that you can do to get out of the house quick and feel put together without a lot of makeup. So we're gonna start off and prep with a little bit of eye cream. Do you use eye cream normally?
Usually I do.
Usually?
Yes, but it's the one hard thing to find. You have to match it with your skin tone. Am I right?
Well, eye cream is just to help with puffiness, dark circles. It's actually like the skincare for the under eye area. It's just important to use an eye cream because it can hydrate. Your moisturizer won't actually do what it needs to underneath your eyes. So this is one of my all-time favorite eye creams. I'm a huge fan of Algenist. I love their line. I love their products. So this one helps with depuffing. It helps with darkness, fine lines and wrinkles. It's literally like your all-in-one. So I always use my ring finger and kind of swiping it from the inside out and then tapping it along. You always kind of want to start from the inside and push outward. If you have any puffiness, it's pushing that fluid out. So that will help. You said one of your concerns we were talking earlier is the darkness and the bags under your eyes.
Right.
So eye cream is definitely one of the things you got to use every day, morning and night. And then we'll talk about some concealers and how to fix that. So then I'm going to go in with a moisturizer. I always like to use my hands on my clients because I can find texture or I could feel like their skin and see if there's any problem areas. So just feeling, she has, would you say you're a little bit more on the dry side? Maybe oily in the T-zone?
Right.
Okay, perfect. So this one is a really nice moisturizer by Sisley. It just really balances the skin. It gives nice hydration. So I felt like your nose was a little dry. I see a little shine on your forehead, so maybe you get shiny up there. But we're just going to kind of massage this into the skin. And the more you massage, it actually increases circulation. See, and your chin's just a little bit more dry too, right? So we are going into winter now. And as you change seasons, your skin's gonna change. So, you know, right now we're in fall and it starts to get a little bit drier. You know, your lips might get chapped, your skin might get drier. So you may need to change up your skincare routine. You may need to change up your foundation color. You know, we lose some of our color in the winter. So it's always good to adjust based on the seasons and what your skin really, really needs. So giving you a little extra moisture in here. And then I'm gonna see how your forehead reacts to this. And if it tends to get a little bit shiny, I'm gonna go back in with something that's more oil controlling, but it's actually looking pretty good so far. So as you can see, I'm just massaging. Does that feel good though? So massaging using my fingertips and just really working that product in. It's one thing I like to do is just really take your time with skincare. Again, increasing the circulation. It helps to make your skin nice and glowy, bring the blood flow going. So you can really just work it in. And then again, I can feel like the texture of her skin and see where it needs to have extra love, or maybe if it gets any dry patches, I can really work those so that the makeup goes on beautifully. I'm just doing a little facial massage. And if you're working on clients, if you're a makeup artist, it's always good to give them an extra little love. They appreciate it. So now that we have the moisturizer on, I'm actually going to apply just a little bit of an oil control moisturizer. This one's by Armani. And what I love about this is it still hydrates the skin, but it absorbs excess oil. So I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but it's already matting out her skin. You know, where you tend to get a little bit extra oil. So right through the center. Some people might get oily right here. So I like to apply this. Some people may need it all over. Some people may just need it in certain spots, and it might be too matte or drying for others. So I did use a really, really strong moisturizer. So she's gonna have a lot of moisture on her skin. So I don't want it to be too overly dewy or make the product slide. So I'm adding a little bit of this Armani. It's the Trouble Zone moisturizer. So again, it just mattes out where we need. And sometimes we get oily around our nose. And this will act as a primer as well, so I don't even need to use another primer. And then along the chin. And Valen has beautiful skin, so she doesn't have much texture or pores. We're all jealous, I know, I am too. So she doesn't need a dimethicone primer to fill in at all because her skin's already really, really smooth. For foundation, I always use multiple colors. I like to create dimension, and for Valen, we're gonna definitely use those multiple colors. So I'm actually gonna probably use 3. I've got Nars Sheer Glow in Tahoe. I have the Becca Ultimate Coverage in Maple, which this one matches her probably the best. It might be slightly dark. Excuse you. Had a little gas. But it might be slightly dark. And then this is the Huda Beauty Butter Pecan. This one is slightly lighter, so I'm gonna use this foundation to highlight. I always love to use multiple to create dimension and just kind of create movement on the skin so it's not just all one color. So there's my 3 colors. We're gonna start with, this is the Becca Ultimate Coverage. I'm gonna mix a tiny bit of the lighter one in there just because I know it's gonna be a little tiny dark. So I like to cocktail my foundations and make them match perfectly. A little bit more color there. We're gonna start on the perimeter of the face. Yeah, there we go. I always like to just make sure that this color matches everything on the rest of the body. So we're gonna start down below, and then we're gonna lighten, so. Perfect. I'm using kind of like a domed synthetic brush. And this one is really, really nice because you can like use these circular motions to give that airbrushed finish, which I really, really love. I love skin to look like skin, make it look really, really pretty. So what a perfect match. I love it. Okay, so what do you don't wear foundation typically, you wear powder? Or do you do foundation sometimes?
I do use foundation
you do
sometimes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what do you use to apply it? Fingers, brush, sponge?
Both.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All of the above?
Mix it up, yes.
That's perfect. So on Valen's forehead, I'm using just the deeper color. Where the sun naturally hits is from the top. So she's naturally gonna be a little bit darker up here. And so I'm just matching her tone. And then I'm also gonna do it along the nose because that way we can highlight it later with a lighter color in the center, but make it look really natural. And then I'm also gonna pull some of that deeper color around her cheekbones. So I don't wanna contour too much with like a darker color, but it's just gonna create the dimension on her face. So we're pulling this in. Again, this is the deeper color. This one's the Becca Ultimate Coverage. I'm just pulling it into her temples, from her forehead, and all the way into her cheekbones. Kind of creating that natural dimension right here. Giving her some color in her cheeks, but not disrupting what we've done down here with her skin tone. All right, so we went along the nose and the cheeks. And I'm just kind of finishing it off, pressing it in. Perfect. So I'm using Nars Tahoe through the center of the face, and I'm actually going to lighten it up a little bit with concealer. So it's a little bit dark right now, but you'll see. This will lighten up. And I'm using a kind of a smaller brush. This one is actually like an airbrush concealer brush, but I love to use it to, you know, place foundations where I want them to go. So through the center, here. Down below. We're just gonna kind of get foundation going wherever we want. And then I take a beauty blender and just press it all in. So I have nothing on this beauty blender. I am just making sure that it's hydrated and no excess foundation will be left on the skin. So I'll just really melt into the skin. This is kind of what I like to do just to minimize any texture, minimize any like heaviness. Have you ever used a beauty blender, Valen?
I don't think I have.
No?
And it feels
Does it feel good?
cushiony.
Yeah. So it's basically like an egg-shaped blender, but you get it wet so it doesn't absorb too much product, but it really gives this beautiful finish. It really makes it look like, it literally just like skin. So it's nice to touch up with. If you need to add more, you can, go in directly with foundation, but I love it just to finish off. All right, so now I'm going in with the lighter color, and I'm gonna just brighten up this area. This is not concealer, this is actually foundation. So I'm going in with the lighter color. This is the Huda Beauty. And this is not concealer, this is just foundation. But what I wanna do is create dimension on her skin. And we'll go back in with a little bit of concealer as well, but I wanna lay down a little bit of brightness under her eyes already, just to create that natural kind of contour that we would see. It's a little fake it moment. So just brightening up this area, and this will really set the stage for the rest of the look, just to make her skin look super dimensional, not flat, really lifelike, and perfect, picture perfect. So I've used 3 different foundation colors on you, Valen. Have you ever used 3 different foundation colors on yourself? Never? Do you use just one?
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
So the reason why I find that it just really creates, if you look at your forehead color, do you ever notice whatever color you use for your foundation, is it lighter or darker on your cheeks and then a different color on your forehead?
Yeah.
All the time,
definitely.
right? So your natural tones, we're just kind of mimicking them. So this is going to make it look, it's definitely going to be makeup, but it's going to make it look the most natural because you're not just one flat color. Sometimes I go lighter right on the center of the chin just to bring that out. We have most of the foundation done. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I might bring a tiny bit, so she's a little bit lighter along her chest. So sometimes I'll bring just a little bit in here. I like to go through the center of the neck. We don't want to put too much makeup here because we don't want it to transfer on her clothes, but it's important to bring whatever color you have in the face throughout the body. You want to make sure that it matches really well. Okay, so she is pretty much done with her foundation. We're going to move on to concealer. And like you had said, your under eye area is your main concern,
Yes.
Would you say? Okay. So her under eye is her main concern. And anytime you have a mid to deeper skin tone, a lot of times the color under their eye can be like really dark. It can be more of that purpley undertone. So you want to brighten it. You want it to be more of that like yellowy, peachy orange. So these are new concealers. I'm going to see the colors. Might be a little too light for you. These are new concealers by Elcie. Ooh, yeah. I think that one should work. They've got amazing coverage, and we're going to try these out. So this one has a beautiful kind of peachy tone. This is exactly what I want. And go ahead and look up for me. And I'm just using a synthetic brush, and the orange in this will completely counteract the darkness and brighten that under eye area up, so you won't see any gray. If you use too much yellow, then that under eye area color is going to turn gray, and it will look even darker. So you don't want to use too much yellow. You really want to brighten it up with kind of like a peach or an orange. So we had already done foundation over here, but if you can see the difference, that orangey color really just brightens as compared to this one. So right here, I'm noticing it's that little bit more of a gray tone, and you put that peach right over it, and it just completely lifts it. So this is color correcting. Instead of applying too much product, we're actually just correcting the color. What concealer do you use? Or do you like one? Is there one your favorite?
I think I'm using Lancome.
Lancome?
Right now. Yeah.
Is it the one in the little squeezy tube or?
Yeah, it's like a glass bottle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know which one that is. Perfect. Okay, so we have done most of her complexion. As far as contouring and highlighting, I did a lot of it with the foundations that we used. I still might do a tiny bit with a bronzer. I don't want to do too dark of a contour because I don't want it to look too fake. She's got a beautiful face shape. So I'm actually just going to warm up. And this one might be a little light. Let me see. Oh, that's actually good. So I'm just going to give a slight contour by just warming up her cheeks basically. So kind of going in this area. And this is just a matte bronzer. This one is also by Elcie. She's got some good products. And this will just, see how it just warms up her cheeks and kind of gives that beautiful, beautiful contour without looking like too ashy or too gray of a color. So we'll add a little bit along the hairline. And this will also help set the foundation on the forehead. I don't want to use too much powder. And then we'll just bring, again, a little bit of that bronzer through the center just to bring that continuity. All right, your skin is beautiful. Okay, so we've done some foundations, we've done a little bit of bronzer. I'm gonna move on to brows. So I wanna get kind of all my basics on here. I'm going to use my tried and true Anastasia brow palette. And we are going to just shape her brows. Do you do brow powder or anything on a typical everyday basis?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do you use? Do you like a pencil or a powder? What's your kind of go-to?
I use a powder, and sometimes I use those, feels like a mud type wet powder material.
Almost like that paste, like a
Yes.
pomade, what's it called? Like a dip brow, Anastasia dip brow. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
I got you, girl. So sometimes those are really great if you want like stay power and, you know, a really sharp brow. This one's just a powder, looking beautiful. You've got good brows.
Thank you.
You have a good base to work with. So yeah, I'm just using, I'm using soft brown because I didn't want it to be too ashy on her. So I wanted a tiny bit of warmth. She's got a little bit of warmth in her hair. So I always look to see kind of what their hair color is and what would really complement their eyes. I always look to see what their hair color is and what would complement the best. So I'm kind of just tracing her natural shape. She doesn't need a lot of correction, so I'm not really correcting much at all. Might bring it out a tiny bit more than her natural shape. And then I'm just going to make sure I get this end nice and perfect. And this is just like an angled brush, something with natural bristles. I tend to like natural bristles when I'm using a powdery product. I don't always love synthetic bristles on a powder, so just my personal preference. I'm really gonna get the shape on this inner. I'm gonna use a little bit of pencil. She has a little bit more hair on the inside here, so I am just going to mimic it on the other side. So this is the Nars Brow Perfector, and I'm just using really, really light strokes to kind of mimic hair-like strokes so that it looks like her natural brow. I'm just measuring where it starts, and this one's still a little bit lower. Come on. Bring it up a tiny bit right there. The most subtle changes in brows can make the biggest difference. So take your time and make sure that they are even. And whatever you need to do to even them out. I think we did pretty good. All right. Brows, done. Check. So here's kind of like an everyday, gotta get out the door, don't have a lot of time. Get your complexion on, get your brows on, a tiny bit of bronzer for a little color in the cheeks. She can walk out the door and feel put together, you know, dropping off your kids. If you don't have that much time in the morning, this is exactly what you need to do. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look. Stay tuned for more if you want to learn how to add on to this. Thanks again for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below what you want to see next. All of the products used in my video are also linked below. And if you want to see more, follow me anywhere at Joe Powell Glam. Thanks again.